everyone, Aqua Girl Talks here, back with a new topic. Today I wanted to talk about raising baby goldfish. Not necessarily fry. I don't have experience with goldfish fry or breeding goldfish, but I do have some newer experience with getting young fish from my local fish store and growing them out fairly rapidly with great results. So I really wanted to share what I've been doing and what's been working for me. I know there's a lot of methods out there. I would love to tell you what I feed them, how often I feed them, how often I water change, and maybe just a briefing on what I'm doing in quarantine for the fish that I'm going to be highlighting in this video. I'm actually going to be talking about Presley, the crown pearl scale. He has a friend in there with him, so I will talk about them today. And that's my garage. It's kind of a mess. We don't park our cars in there, so it's just kind of a collection of things room. So, and one of my quarantine tanks is out there. So anyway, I wanted to start the intro in here just because it's terrible lighting out there. This is my 11-gallon planted tank that I haven't actually posted on Instagram in a few months, so it's doing well. It exists. So anyway, so continue to watch the video and maybe pick up some new tips or tricks that you can apply with your own fish. Thank you. It all started at AquaWorks on December 12th when their shipment came in and they had crown pearl scales. They were so small it was hard to even tell if they were crown pearl scales or not, but we chose the best one after much debate and headed home. He was so teeny tiny that I decided to start him off in my 7-gallon quarantine tank with a cycled sponge filter from my 75-gallon. I noticed after a day or so that he had a little bit of minor tearing and damage on his fins from shipping, so I dosed Riddick just in case there was any fungus present. I started off power feeding him right away. Frozen mysis, frozen brine, live California black worms. Anytime there wasn't food in the tank, I put food in there. So I even would call my husband and tell him to put food in the tank because I can see on the camera from work. I would just say, put food in there all the time because I just wanted him to have the best chance of growing to his fullest potential. At this point, I was doing daily 50% water changes while he was in the 7-gallon. He was eating really well, but he started to get some redness on the ends of his fins. I thought maybe it was continued, aftermath from the shipping damage or possible damage from Fluke's parasites or even stress. So I talked to the LFS and they said that it could just even be something as simple as normal pigment developing on the fish. I then decided to move him over to my 22-gallon, up the salinity to 0.3%, and dose a combination of maracyn 1 and maracyn 2. After the antibiotics, I did a water change and I dosed Prazi Pro for Fluke's parasites preventatively, and I kept the salinity at 0.3%. Because he was still so incredibly shy, my husband and I decided to go back to the fish store and pick up his sister who had been there for 2 weeks. Had not been chosen by anyone yet, and we thought maybe if we brought her home that it would bring him out of his shell a little bit. It was so interesting getting her home because they were the same size 2 weeks prior, and our fish had grown 3 times the size in that amount of time, while she stayed the same because she was competing with other fish for food, and so she wasn't able to grow at the same rate as he was. His behavior changed almost immediately with her presence, and we knew we made the right decision. Even if she had been stunted and will never grow a crown like him or even develop perfect pearl scales, she's definitely a part of our fish family now and has been just so good for him. At this point, he still had, you can see in this video, he still had the redness on the ends of his tail. And I just couldn't really figure out why, but he was growing and he was eating and his behavior started changing with her presence. And so, I just continued to do the Prazi Pro treatment with the raised salinity and waited out. I decided to do a 35-day round of Prazi Pro
It's a regimented dosing according to a schedule that I found online. So they have completed 2 weeks of the 35 days of prazi. And the redness is actually gone. Well, you can see right here, she had it too. So currently, going into week 6, they don't have the redness on their tail anymore. And they still have more than half of the 35 days of the prazi regimen to go. So I'm extremely pleased that the redness is gone. And I kind of wonder if it was damage from flukes. Depending on if it's a work day for me or not, they may get fed twice or up to 5 times. When I'm off of work and I'm home, I just go in there and I put food in there just like I did at the beginning. If there's no food on the bottom of the tank, I put food in there because they're babies. I don't necessarily do the same thing with adult fish, but when you're growing them out, these are my results. So, you can see here that although she's still smaller than him, she is so much rounder than she was when I brought her home. And then of course him, that crown is goals. Like that is just my entire life right now is watching him continue to thrive the longer he is with me. So I sort of wonder if her shape and form and pearls and crown, I wonder if I had gotten her at the same time, if those would have developed differently than they did. So the whole thing is just fascinating to me. It's just a trial and error keeping fish. So he has been just such a fun project for me, and I just can't wait to see where he is in another month from now.